You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened.
He didn't just fall from power, he was quietly dismantled long before anyone noticed. Sean Combs thought he still had control, but someone had already made moves that locked every exit. Money was flowing behind the scenes, legal teams were activated, and silent victims were suddenly no longer silent. This was not revenge in public, this was strategy in the shadows. But this is where things get crazy, because the real damage was done before the world even started watching. What happened next shocked everyone because this was planned years in advance. Every deal, every connection, every comeback path was already cut off. By the time Diddy realized what was happening, there was nothing left to hold on to. And this changes everything, because this was not just about accusations anymore. This was about control being taken away piece by piece until there was nothing left. So the real question is, who had the power to destroy him so completely?
Or violated. You think that's harsh? No. He destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
Is this real life? I feel crazy. The world is spinning around me. What's happening? You have 4 eyes. I have 2 fingers.
The moment looks harmless at first, but something feels off the deeper you look. 50 Cent steps in and suddenly the entire narrative shifts. He is not just telling a story, he is exposing something buried for years. And this changes everything because now it is not rumors anymore, it feels like something real is starting to surface. Then the focus turns back to Sean Combs, and the tone becomes darker. This is no longer about music or fame, this is about power and control. The kind of power that shapes careers and decides who rises and who disappears. But this is where things get crazy because people are starting to question what really happened behind closed doors. And then comes the unexpected name that changes the entire energy. Justin Bieber enters the picture, not as a superstar, but as someone much younger, much more vulnerable. Suddenly the story is not glamorous anymore. It feels uncomfortable, like something people ignored for too long. What happened next shocked everyone because the environment being described does not sound safe. It sounds controlled. It sounds calculated. A young artist surrounded by powerful figures with no real protection. And this changes everything because now the audience starts to see the cracks in the perfect success story. The conversation builds slowly but the tension keeps rising. It is not direct accusations, but the hints are heavy. The kind that make people pause and rethink everything they believed before. And this is where the mystery deepens because nothing is being clearly proven, yet everything feels too real to ignore. Then small details start to hit harder than expected. Moments that once looked normal now feel different. Conversations, jokes, interactions, all of it starts to carry a different meaning. But this is where things get crazy because the truth might have always been there, just hidden in plain sight. The power dynamic becomes impossible to ignore. Fame on one side, influence on the other, and somewhere in the middle, a young artist trying to navigate it all. What happened next shocked everyone because it raises a question no one wants to answer. Was success worth the cost? And this changes everything because now the audience is no longer just watching, they are questioning. Questioning the system, the people, and the silence that surrounded it all. It starts to feel like this was bigger than just one person or one moment. The tension keeps building as more layers are revealed. Not full answers, just pieces of a much larger puzzle. And that is what makes it even more intense. Because every piece adds pressure, but never enough to complete the picture. Then comes the realization that hits the hardest. This was not just about one story. It hints at a pattern. A cycle that may have repeated itself over the years. But this is where things get crazy, because if that is true, then how much has been hidden all this time? What happened next shocked everyone, because the silence itself becomes part of the story. The fact that so many things were never questioned, never challenged. And this changes everything, because now silence feels louder than any accusation. In the end, nothing is fully confirmed, yet nothing feels the same anymore. The story leaves behind more questions than answers, and that is what makes it powerful. Because if this is only a small glimpse of the truth, then what is still being kept hidden?